So it's quite interesting. I was just rewatching back the video I just recorded about injury, and although I mentioned it a couple of times, I very much focused on the physical side of things and not the psychological component, which, let's be real, that's the biggest fucking battle. And when you're in injury, it's shit. I think a few things happen when we are in a sport, or when we're in a team, or when we are belong to something. It becomes part of our identity. Now, I'd only just started doing the sport of wrestling, like pro wrestling, that is, pro wrestling, not Greco-Roman or any of the other kinds of wrestling. I'd only just started the sport, so it's not like I was like, you know, this is my fucking life and I am part of this team and like this is where I imagine my career going. Like, you know, I'm starting pro wrestling as a 43-year-old. Like, I'm in it to have a good time and see if I can use my skills for something that I think is really fun and exciting. But whatever you do, whatever you align yourself with, whatever you care about, it becomes part of your identity. And it, you know, especially if sport and athleticism have been part of your identity, being injured is really, really upsetting, because just, you know, for me, physical capability is not only something that I am used to having, but it's something that I pride myself on being able to help other people achieve. You know, I build resilience and strength in complex humans. So if I'm a complex human who doesn't have resilience and strength, what even am I? Like, what even is my point? And, you know, I can joke now, but it's very real. Like, it feels very like, it's really isolating to be injured, and it's shit. So I knew that what I couldn't do is I couldn't fall into a hole, because then the depression comes and then you don't do the work and then you do get weak and then you don't get better and then you never get back to where you want to be. And like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, guys. So what I did was first of all, on my phone, I always have, like, on my lock screen, I have like what I'm about, because it just reminds me, we spend so much time looking at our phone, even if it's just like, picking it up, checking the time kind of a way. Like, it's just really good to have that anchor. Even just seeing text, I'll know what it says on there, and it'll just remind me that this is my like North Star. And sadly, I was like, you know, we're going to do loads of lifting, we're going to do loads of wrestling, we're going to really like enjoy getting into our stuff. So that had to change immediately. So as soon as I came back from the first physio appointment, I sat in David Lloyd. Actually, I had some depression chicken wings, and I just rewrote my plan, and I was like, right. And I literally named every area of my body that I could train that wasn't my right leg. And, you know, like, it down to, I can train my left leg, because actually training your left leg, you keep, what is it, like, I can't quite remember the statistic, but it's a significant amount of strength loss that you can prevent by training the opposite limb if you have a limb that's fucked. So that's really exciting. So, but zone 2 conditioning, I can train my neck, I can train my core, I can train my arms, I can just have the biggest, not bench, but maybe Larson press, where I don't use my feet on the planet. Not bench though, because that requires me to be able to push through both feet effectively. But I can train for all these things, and it just reminded me that there was a point. I made myself a new playlist for the gym called Hoods Up Slaying Demons, and it is, you know, like, I used to work in a fucking powerlifting bodybuilding gym, and like sometimes you would see people there and they'd be like in the depths of prep, and they'd just be like, don't talk to me, I want to die. And like, that's sort of how I felt. Like, I was just like, I'm in here just doing my bike while you're in here, and like, I'd look at people squatting and I'd be like, you. I want to be you. But I think sometimes you just got to fucking like lean into that. And I was like, I put some like, there's some really cool stuff on there actually. There's a lot of like really driving industrial, like, we're just going to do it because this is gritty and life is shit and we're just going to get through because this is what we're faced with. And then there's some computer game music, because it's just like, you just Sonic the Hedgehog, you're just completing tasks, you can do this, like, you just keep it ticking along, you've got this. And then there's some like real like angsty fucking rock about like being abandoned and having to do it all yourself, and what are you going to do now you're in the fucking pain cave. And then there's some like fucking hip hop around like, we're coming out, like, you don't know, we might be in our fallow period right now, but we're going to come out and we're going to fuck up all of y'all. So there's just some horrible music on there, there's some really good stuff, but like, it really helped me, because I like music's really important to me, lyrics are really important to me. I think it's a way of programming yourself for success and failure. And I know fucking mental elite athletes that just listen to one song when they're training. So not all the time when they're training, obviously, they're not that mental. But basically when they do their like intense effort stuff, so like in CrossFit, like say you've got like a serious, like this is like almost like a game day replication, that's when they'll start playing this track to themselves, or if they've got a big list, they'll play this track to themselves. And that means that when they cue that track up just before they go onto the competition floor, it flips them into game state and they perform well because they're used to performing well. That is their "you perform well" song. And it's the same with this, like I needed my "I'm coming back" songs. I'm coming back, I'm winning, I'm grinding, I'm winning. The ops are against me. Sometimes you just need to feel, you feel like everything's against you in these instances and you feel really isolated. So yeah, just setting myself up so I have this like music that's like, no, we're doing this thing, this is what we're doing, and it flips me into that state of, don't feel sorry for yourself, there's always something you can do, so fucking do it. So as well as obviously all the things I can train being on my lock screen, the other things were like, what else can I do? How can I make it better? Like, what can I change? Like, so whether that be like, you know, massage treatment or acupuncture or, you know, things that I can do that are like little treats that will also help my knee. I also put just so imagine non-knee stuff. Let's move away. Sport isn't my life. I don't get paid for doing sport. Like, I've never got paid for doing sport. I've never been that good at anything that anyone would pay me for doing sport. But my life is adjacent to being paid for doing sport, but it's just adjacent too. So I was like, what else can I focus on? So, you know, work is really important. You know, like we can get our money up. We can, you know, look after our clients better. We can do all this stuff. But also, you know, my home, my habits, my structures, my systems. How can I improve my nutrition? Like, nutrition's so important in recovery and healing. So like, you know, making sure I'm getting my sleep, like making my structures and habits support that of an athlete. Because when I do click back into training after 6 months of rehab, if I've got structures that support me being a better athlete, then I'm gonna do better and I'm gonna get on better when I get back. So that's massive. So things like that. Then I also put stuff around staying in the sport, and staying in the sport is so important. It can feel really othering, really isolating to be injured. And one of the things I always, if you can, you should carry on training at your gym or, you know, wherever your team or whatever train. If you can carry on doing some work with your team, whatever that looks like. So it might look like, you know, for me, like it might look like auditing sessions. So literally going in and watching people do the thing that I can't do at the moment, because actually watching, listening, learning, I can hear a coach say stuff. I can listen to technical cues. I can watch how people do it. I can watch how different people do it. I can study tape. I can look at, you know, there's like, basically like all I do is just watch YouTube, just watch wrestling, like watch wrestlers, look at different styles of wrestling. Like, I don't know a lot about pro wrestling. Like, I came to it very late in life. Like, it had always been like something that was, you know, like loads of my friends are into it. Some like incredibly so. Like, you know, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. Like, it's just like, of course, that's part of the culture. So yeah, loads of, you know, it's always been around me, but I've not watched loads of wrestling myself. So just watching, like, what do different people do? With a new mindset as well of like, what do older people do? So like the 43-year-olds who want to actually look after themselves and survive and thrive, what are they doing? Like, are they doing stuff differently? Like, are they maybe not taking the crazy bumps that some of the kids do? Are they maybe looking at more technical styles to enable them to do a quality job without fucking themselves up quite as much on the regs? So yeah, like things like that, and just basically like expanding my knowledge and staying in the sport as much as I can. I've tried to go to shows. I've tried to, you know, just stay involved with people as much as possible. We've just had Christmas and New Year, so like there was a little bit of a fallow period over there. But yeah, just like trying to stay in touch with people locally who do wrestling, and try and keep in the game. And it might look different for you. Like as a weightlifter, that would have looked to me like going to practices and doing my S&C work or my rehab work alongside the weightlifters, being in the team still, being in the team environment, getting like the stuff from the coaches, like just not crashing out. And then you don't have this massive identity shift. Harder if you play something like football, hockey, whatever, isn't it? Like it's harder. Like you're not going to go to every game and sit on the sidelines, and if you do, it's going to get depressing. But what do the team do? Do they do strength and conditioning sessions that you can turn up to in the week? If there's drills, can you check which drill sessions you might be able to access? Or like I was like maybe there's just a way of doing stuff that is maybe we can just do upper body stuff that's wrestling related, and maybe that's true of your sport. I don't know, but yeah, like I don't know enough about it really to know how to figure that out, but we'll get there. But like it's just finding those ways that you don't completely divorce yourself from and just turn into this person who sits at home, goes to do lonely rehab, and just sort of crashes out of what you loved, because so much of identity isn't actually about your physical ability to do the thing. It's about, the environments you're in, the people around you, staying in, that you're all kind of pulling towards this one goal. And if you can stay in some of that, you're going to feel so much more attached to getting better and, your recovery and healing process. But also like it just makes it a much easier transition when you come back into the gym, rather than it being this big thing of like, right, I haven't been here for 6 months. Let's hope I don't fuck myself up again. So that is definitely what I would recommend to anybody who is going through a rehab process at the moment. But yeah, those are the things that I've dealt with. Like there've definitely been really low times. There've been times when I've been like, I don't think I'll ever get back to doing anything I want to do, whether it be like weightlifting or wrestling or like gymnastics, I just can't imagine myself when I'm in my lower moments being physically confident doing certain things. But then, it changes. That goes. So yeah, it's, for me, it's just really clinging on to all the other things you can do. And if that means I'll just eat a shit ton of protein and I'll sleep really well and I'll just have like the best possible situation going into the next few months, regardless of what happens, it's going to be a good thing. So yeah, like I'm never going to be sorry that I did that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's always going to be sensible. So that is my little bit on psychological. So hopefully that was helpful. I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like that's kind of why I wanted to do this while I'm going through it, because I think when you're out of it, you just forget. Because you want to forget because it was shit. But when you're in it, like you're just like, no one's ever felt like this before. It's just me and I'm the worst, and it really isn't.